We sometimes take our relationships as the sole perspective of our being. But when these relationships tumble after a period of time, it can make us feel like we have lost everything. Do you ever feel in your bones that your sole purpose of existence is to please another person? Why do we desire someone who wants to leave? Why do we become so clingy? Why is acceptance missing? Why doesn't the other person feel the same damage we do? These whys bother me a lot. Sometimes finding the answers to these questions feels like the purpose of life itself. I've never felt that I've found the answers to these whys so far, but I'm happy that I've actually started to introspect my behaviors. Sometimes when you start looking at yourself as an observer, you begin to notice your own behavior patterns. For some time I was pointing fingers at the outside world. Later I realized it wasn't others who had hurt me. It was my own unidentified part of my psyche that did not give itself priority, which caused the pain. I wasn't listening to my own intuitions, holding on to something I should have let go of a long time ago, because I truly thought that was life, and making things work was my duty. Today I want to talk about how we lose ourselves in relationships and how to find our way back home. As Carl Jung said, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." Similarly, no human can achieve wholeness without embracing all aspects of themselves. The truth is that we are all fractured beings. Our experiences, upbringing, society, culture, family, and friends shape us into different versions of ourselves. However, that doesn't mean we have to remain fractured. Have you ever thought of yourself as a puzzle? If you see yourself as a puzzle, you'd probably also think of your life as a jigsaw puzzle where every single piece has to fit into place for the picture to be complete. It's possible that you might have been looking for that special piece of the puzzle for a long time, searching everywhere except within yourself. So here's the first step. Stop looking for yourself outside. You are already inside. Embracing all parts of ourselves is essential to our well-being, happiness, and mental health. We cannot selectively pick and choose which parts of ourselves we embrace. When we reject parts of ourselves, we simultaneously reject our wholeness. We attempt to deny the truth of our being. But denying our shadow doesn't make it disappear. Instead, it lives in our subconscious, creating inner conflict. If we don't integrate the rejected parts of ourselves, our psyche becomes fragmented. We behave erratically and impulsively. Our actions may seem inconsistent to others because we haven't integrated the different parts of ourselves. We are inconsistent. We may even despise ourselves for things we don't understand about ourselves. According to Jung, we all have two primary aspects: our conscious and our unconscious. The conscious mind is everything we are aware of in the present moment, while the unconscious contains everything we aren't consciously aware of. Everything in our unconscious still influences our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, whether we are aware of it or not. One thing that lives in our unconscious is our shadow self. The shadow comprises all of the traits and aspects of ourselves that we reject and disown. These traits don't necessarily have to be bad. For example, if you're a shy person who doesn't like being in the spotlight, you may reject and disown your outgoing and charismatic traits. Or if you're a calm and collected person, you may reject and disown your angry and passionate traits. When we disown these traits, we fail to embrace our wholeness. This rejection creates inner conflict, which is the gap between our ideal self and our actual self. And the only way to stop feeling this conflict is to integrate our shadow. We have to embrace all aspects of ourselves, both the light and the dark, so we can move forward toward wholeness. Many of us struggle with this process because we were raised in a society that rewards certain behaviors and rejects others. We learn early on that we can't be our true selves, and instead we must act in a certain way to be accepted by others. For example, we may learn that anger is unacceptable, so we suppress our anger and pretend to be nice all the time. But suppressing our anger doesn't make it go away. It simply festers in our unconscious, creating inner conflict. Eventually, we may lash out in an angry outburst that scares both ourselves and those around us. We may even feel ashamed of our outburst, which causes us to suppress our anger even more. The key to overcoming this cycle is to learn how to express our anger in a healthy way. This means learning how to communicate our needs and set boundaries without resorting to aggression or passive-aggressive behaviors. It also means learning how to forgive ourselves for any anger we may have felt in the past. Another way we lose ourselves in relationships is by giving too much importance to others' opinions. Think about it. Why do we even care what other people think of us? Why does their opinion matter so much? The reason is that we are all raised in families and communities that enforce rules and expectations on us. We learn from an early age that we can't do whatever we want whenever we want, and if we break the rules, we will be punished. As a result, we spend our lives trying to please others and gain their approval, but doing so prevents us from living authentically. If we truly want to live authentically, we must start by accepting ourselves. This means embracing all parts of ourselves, including the parts that are imperfect. Only then can we live a life that is true to who we are. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in a relationship that isn't making you happy. Maybe you feel like you're losing yourself. You may try to change your partner by convincing them to go to therapy or read books on relationships. But these tactics won't work. Why? Because you're trying to change your partner to fit your ideal of what a relationship should be. You're not accepting them for who they are. To accept someone doesn't mean condoning their behavior. It simply means recognizing that they are a human being just like you, with all the imperfections that entails. So instead of trying to change your partner, why not focus on changing yourself? If you're unhappy in your relationship, maybe it's time to move on. But before you do, make sure you take the time to heal and grow from the experience. Learn what you can from the relationship and then let it go. You have to understand that you deserve to be happy. Don't settle for less. The next way we lose ourselves in relationships is by becoming overly attached to the idea of the relationship lasting forever. You see, when we get into relationships, we often do so with the expectation that they will last forever. We may even convince ourselves that we will never get divorced. But what happens when the relationship doesn't last forever? We are left heartbroken and lost. That's because we put all of our hopes and dreams into the relationship, and when it ended, we lost everything. The only way to avoid this fate is to enter into relationships with the understanding that they may or may not last forever. It's a difficult thing to accept, but it's the only way to protect ourselves from getting hurt. You have to remember that no relationship is perfect. Every relationship has its ups and downs. It's important to enjoy the good times and be prepared for the bad times. If we go into a relationship expecting perfection, we will only be setting ourselves up for disappointment. When we lose ourselves in a relationship, we often do so because we are trying to escape our loneliness. We may think that if we can just find the right person to love us, then we will finally be happy. But that's not how it works. The truth is that we must first learn to love ourselves before we can expect someone else to love us. If we don't love ourselves, we will always feel incomplete and unfulfilled in our relationships. So the next time you find yourself getting lost in a relationship, take a step back and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I trying to escape? By asking yourself these questions, you will be able to get to the root of the problem and start working on solving it. Remember, you are not alone. We all get lost in relationships sometimes. But the important thing is to be honest with ourselves about why we are doing what we are doing. If we can do that, then we can have healthier and more fulfilling relationships. If you liked this video, share it with your friends and family. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.